Hello, LinkedIn family, as well as everywhere else we are streaming. There's Matt. Yay, we have a guest. Um, I am about to bring him in. This is Living with Annietude. And we are here with Matt. Let me bring him in. Matt.
Hey, how
Hi.
are you?
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
You are live and in charge.
I love being in charge. That works.
I know. So I had this whole thing prepared because I didn't know if you were going to be late or whatever. So I was like preparing in my head what I was going to talk about. So let me just get that out. I also have to realize that my gratitude alarm goes off every night at 8 o'clock on my phone so that I can stop and be grateful. And I keep forgetting that. So I go to hit the live button and my gratitude alarm's going off and everything's happening. So I got to get used to
No
that.
problem.
So what's going on, man?
What's going on?
I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
I'm excited.
Really cool. It's been a crazy awesome week. So
has it already?
This is my second podcast today, so I'm pumped.
Oh, you're going back to back. You're going back to back. What podcast did you do earlier?
I was on with a friend of mine, Sharon. It was just a kind of a really casual chat that she does on YouTube, posted on LinkedIn. So it was a lot of fun.
Nice. Well, this is really serious. And, we're going to keep it really regimented. I don't want to chat. I don't want to laugh or anything or smile.
Yeah.
So that's typically how this works here,
Right
so
on.
check this out.
Oh, look at the branding right on.
Is that awesome or what?
Yeah.
All right. So awesome. I told him I wasn't going to sell him out, but Mike Paterano got this for me. And we occasionally send each other fun gifts to make each other smile, and swag or whatever is my is part of what we do. And Gabe has a Annietude hat also. So try to keep it real. Everybody's rocking it. I see you're not wearing anything with Annietude tonight. So
no, not at all.
Not yet.
I just realized I'm wearing a dark shirt and a dark background, so I just have a floating head.
It's just a head. It's and a neck. You have a neck.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So I don't know how much you know, but living with Annietude is, well, it's not just a word or a tagline; it's a way of life.
It's a way of life.
But I think we somewhat align. So I would love to hear kind of what you're all about today and where you're going. And
perfect.
Is that good?
Yeah, of course.
That's it. Real serious. Nothing, nothing fun. No, please. I would just love to hear it. And then if I could ask questions or whatever, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free.
Okay, go for it.
What?
Just tell me what you're doing here and what your whole thing is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So first things first, like how I describe myself or who am I versus like what I do is like I'm a father to a 7-year-old little boy. I'm a husband. I met my wife when we were, 15. So we've been married 15 years, but we've known each other since we were 15. We met when we were in martial arts. We were in different high schools, but we met in jiu-jitsu class, and we were grappling partners for a while, competitive fighters for a little bit until college, and went to the same college, and then eventually got married. So, and she's amazing.
So dumb question. You obviously chose to go to the same college, like on purpose to be together, right?
Yeah. That ended up just working out. Plus, it was the only school that would accept me at the time.
Well, so she had to go there.
She was choosing to go there too. Actually, it's the same place my dad went to college also, so it had history. It was just a small business school in Maine where we grew up, and it's been a blast. And so there's that. I'm a big music fanatic. Anything Beatles, classic rock, vinyl. Love pop culture. And I've had a passion for serving people ever since I was a kid, and entrepreneurship too. First business was selling and trading baseball cards when I was 8, and then shoveling sidewalks, mowing lawns. I just never quit. And then I lost my way in my 20s. And I got into the corporate world, but I had an amazing experience, had a great career in it. And, over 5 years ago, about 6 years ago, I got into the coaching world and did something that really aligned with my values, with serving others. I love working with, elite performers and executives, but it's not about the professional development. I really focus on the core foundation of their values first. And then we can layer on some professional development pieces, but I can't do it the other way around.
Right.
So
You find
I
it's
just
not
don't want
authentic
anyone
if you
to
do it
feel
the other
alone in
way.
this world. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you sort of always knew your path. You said you got off your path, but I think you probably went into the corporate world for a reason. I mean, had you
No,
not had that
I really
experience,
lost my way. I
okay.
got money and I got praised, and then I got addicted to it. So,
Well,
but
it's
yeah, I mean,
addicting.
there were elements of me that still was passionate about that because I love developing people, and that's really what helped made me successful was I invested in great people and they delivered amazing results. And
Mhm.
so that was the approach I took. It was just I wanted to do it full time and I wanted to do it with only people who wanted to be coached. Because sometimes people who are getting paid a salary don't always want to be coached.
Absolutely.
They want a paycheck. So that
And
was my
and
jam.
and that's in life, with everybody. I mean, some people want to be
Yeah.
helped and some people don't, right?
Yep. And now I only work with people who want help.
And that's got to be a benefit. So what's your vision? Where are you headed?
Where I'm headed right now is I'm scaling my business for the first time, really. It's like I said, it's going on 6 years old as of September. And I primarily only worked with people one on one. I do speaking engagements, but I'm only one human being and I
Right.
want to serve more people. So I've got multiple programs coming out now that'll be more automated, lower barrier to entry. I feel bad because my rates are at a point where certain people can't afford it. And it's people that were in the same situation I was several years ago. And I'm like,
Right.
well, I want to be able to help other people, but they still need to have some skin in the game. You still have to put something in it to invest in yourself because when it's free, I've noticed so many times when I did free coaching, people didn't show up for it and they didn't take it seriously. And it
Hmm.
bummed me out because they were in
Because you put
situations
your
who
heart and
really
soul in
needed
it.
it. They
You
really needed it, but I'm like, you got to have some skin in the game now.
totally.
Um, and
And you
so,
have
yeah,
value. You bring value. You have a
yeah,
huge
I'm
value.
not,
So
yeah,
you can't underestimate that.
no, absolutely. So, and I've been doing a morning program now with people. Like we get up super early in the morning and I help them develop routines and disciplines. But I think the thing that they don't realize that they're getting is like 30 straight days of fellowship every morning and more
Yep.
emotional awareness and intentionality. And so that's the bonus that really comes out of it. So, no, I'm really grateful. I just, started this second business within the past 2 months. So it's been pretty wild.
That's
I'm really
awesome.
grateful. Yeah.
What do you think is like your most, I'm just thinking about my business and what I do. And I like, basically, we're very aligned in what we do. I'm not a
Hmm.
coach by any means. I don't have the letters after my name that you do, but
You don't need them either.
I, I don't know if that's true, but I know that I have a really big, like a huge need to help others and a huge
Hmm.
need to impact others. And I know I feel this on like a 24/7 basis. And
Right.
that's what I do in business. I'm like, I call it a business lifestyle.
Hmm.
Like somebody that sort of changes, detoxes somebody's business or somebody's life. And I come
Right.
at it from like a mental health perspective first. Like you
Hmm.
said, you have to go down to your core values and get to
Yeah.
the core of the people rather than the other way around. Oh, let's fix
Yeah.
what you're doing with your clients now.
Yeah.
That's you're going to hit a brick wall doing that. So we're very aligned. So I wanted to know, like, what's your biggest challenge with certain people that you're coaching? Like, who do you find the most challenging?
I spend a lot of time interviewing my potential clients because just because you want to pay doesn't mean we're the right fit. And so there are plenty of times I've said no to somebody who's ready to write a check. And I'm like, well, we're not going to be a good fit.
Really?
Like, you're looking for me to give you answers and you want me to be a consultant for you. You want advice and you want to be told what to do. That's not what I do. My job is to help evoke the answers that are inside you. You haven't tapped into them because of your own limiting beliefs. So just about every human being has a voice of limiting belief, a shadow, a saboteur, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's something that people have inherited over time, typically, starting at a very young age by well-intentioned adults that told us how we should dream, how we should dress, and how we should talk. We've had failures in life, things that took away from us. We let those things kind of rob us of what makes us special. So, my job isn't to help people reinvent themselves, it's to help them rediscover. And so
That's
that's where I
really,
spend a
really
lot of
big
my
point.
time.
Your job
Let's go
isn't to,
back to a
hold on,
time
I
when
need to
things
repeat
were
that.
easier.
Your job isn't to reinvent people, it's to help them rediscover
Yeah,
themselves. Right? That's
absolutely.
really an incredible statement. So I just want to
Yeah.
like just stop
No,
on
it's
that for a
fine.
second. Yeah, I love that. That's going on your shirt, dude. You're gonna say it's gonna say living with
Absolutely.
Annietude, and then that quote's gonna go on the back. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted
That's
to
right.
stop because
No,
that was
no,
powerful.
absolutely. And so the whole slogan of my business is living with a courageous heart. And what that means is choosing to live life aligned with your values and not the values that have been defined by others or society. That takes real courage, to step outside of the box and truly own your gifts, your brilliance, your boldness in a way that just shines. And you're also willing to make others feel uncomfortable, by showing up as who you are in life. So it's a pretty
That's
big
interesting too.
transition. It's a huge transition when people start living in their own values because all of a sudden not some people aren't going to be happy for you in your
No,
newfound
they're not.
discovery,
No.
and it's okay. Like I tell people, I'm like, you can't be mad at these people. You sold them on a version of yourself, and they were attracted to that version of you. And if you show up
And you're
differently, they might
changing
be like,
that.
I didn't sign up for this version of you is not what I
Yeah.
signed up for. So it's all right learning to let go of people. Transformation's scary as shit. Like people want transformation, but they don't want to go through the process because there's a lot of unknowns and there's a period of time when you might be alone. You've shed all these individuals that were, maybe toxic to you now, and you're toxic to them. And there's this period of time where you're going to be alone and you're going to have to rediscover yourself and then go on this journey. But as soon as you let go of those people, you've now created a vacancy in your life
For
for new
other
people to
people.
walk in.
Yeah.
And so they join you on your journey, this hero's journey, as Joseph Campbell would call it. And there's this whole discovery process, and it's amazing, but it's not easy. So I love helping people through that. I am a great tour guide through the gray. Like I'm comfortable in the gray. I'm comfortable in the unknown because I've been there. So I'm like, great, I'll be your tour guide through there. And what I know about my clients is that every single human being is naturally creative, resourceful, and whole, but not every human being's been held in that space. Some people have been rescued a lot. Some people have been given advice every single time. I won't give you advice. I'm going to help you find your answers. And it's amazing how many answers we have inside us. We're just afraid to say them.
And we've been told different answers or different things for so long that you think that
Yeah.
those are the correct ways to be. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, you just made so many powerful points. I don't even know where to start, but you're speaking my language. I mean,
Good.
you really, so is this men and women?
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach both?
You know, uh, I've been very fortunate because just growing up and the person I've been, I've learned how to flex, both the masculine and feminine energy where I can meet people where they're at. I want to hold that space for people to be emotional, to cry, to be angry, and be raw and uncensored without any fear of judgment. And so that's the journey that I've been through, and I'm not afraid to express my emotions or even feel with my clients. Like, look, there are times when my clients get emotional. I feel it too,
Yeah.
and
You consider
also
yourself an
I'm not.
empath?
What's
Do
that?
you consider yourself an empath? Are you
Yeah,
an
no
empath?
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think every human being is an empath at some
No,
level. It's
or
just whether you
like,
choose to lean into it or not. It's just
yeah, that's a good
every
point.
human being's like that. I think that word gets thrown around so much. Like we all have the ability to feel. It's just whether or not you choose to lean into it
There's
and
a
accept
depth
it.
of feeling though. I think there's a
Yeah.
different depth. There's a feeling on a different
Yeah,
wavelength. I'm not talking
absolutely.
about just being empathic. I mean, I'm talking
Yeah.
about really,
Yeah, yeah.
really feeling and taking on that person's energy.
I don't take on their energy. That's a dangerous thing to do. I used to do that in my teens and my 20s. I take your energy on, and sometimes that's not the answer. What I
Right.
do is it's a feeling of letting it pass. Like it's like taking a deep breath.
Observing it.
I can take that in, have an opportunity to really absorb your energy, what's going on, and then I give it back to you. I don't want to hang on to it. That doesn't serve you or me.
I
And that's why
understand.
I don't bring the energy with me after the session because it's not mine to hang on to, but I want to experience it so I can connect with you and show empathy, show compassion. But then I got to give it back to you because it's your responsibility to do something with that. So you can choose to stay in your own energy or you can choose to move on from it depending on where you are. Whatever perspective you're in, part of my job too is to help you find other perspectives. Because when they come to me, people are typically saying, I'm stuck, and this is the only perspective I know right now. And I can't see beyond that. And I'll help you find other perspectives. Like, let's take a look at this, like an Instagram filter, like you can have one picture, you change the filter and it looks different, So it's like, great, let's flip through different perspectives. Let's now see, what does your topic look like looking at it through this lens? And so you can have now 5 different perspectives. Now that you're educated, you are empowered to make a choice. And if you choose to stay in your original perspective, you can't say you're a victim anymore because you chose it knowing that there were other options. So my job, again, isn't to make you choose the perspective of resonance. It's just to provide you with vision and opportunity and help you see that. You educate and then you empower. And that's really what's amazing about the process, is just people are really stuck in their own way and they can't see beyond themselves.
Now,
rightfully so.
Was this, Matt, was this hard for you to get to? Like, have you seen a growth or trajectory of your sort of, we get better as we practice and do things, right? So, I mean, you sound so clear. There's so much wisdom in what you're saying. Have you seen a real growth in yourself by doing this job?
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way. Before you got to where you are now, what work did you do on yourself before you got here today in front of this, for this podcast? I mean, have you done your own personal development work on you?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah.
I've done a hell of a lot of work.
Yeah. And how's that served you with helping others?
It only made me better and more empathic and compassionate with others. And all the things that I've gone through have made me that way too.
Exactly. And that's what's powerful about it, is that I can only take someone as deep as I'm willing to take myself. So if I haven't done that work on me, how can I actually take you there? Because typically, if we've only gone so far on our own self, in our own journey, we could get really uncomfortable, trying to take someone even deeper than that. So I've had to do the practice on myself. Now, Granted, our stories and the facts might be different, but the themes are the same. The themes of our journeys, the hurts, the emotions. It's not the story that people connect with. It's the emotions. It's the emotions. I could be telling a very specific story about things, but what people will connect with is not like the city I was living in or the car I was driving. It'll be, oh, I felt shame. I felt, I felt failure. And they're like, that's me. And then they'll plug in their details of the story. And that's what connects us, are the emotions that we've felt. And that's where we're so similar in a lot of ways. And that's why you can't really compare your story to anybody else. It's just not right.
Right. Well, you're right. You
don't know
compare your
somebody
feelings
else's
and
story.
emotions.
Yeah, because when someone says, well, it's not like I have cancer. I'm like, have you had cancer? No. Then how do you know what that feels like? Like, how can you actually compare that to your story? It's not right. You can show empathy and compassion, but you still have, it's okay to own your story and know that you're struggling with it. You
mean when
And now
people
it's a
say to
choice
you,
what
like,
do with it.
I don't have cancer, so how can I feel bad about this kind of thing?
Yeah, or I haven't accomplished this, and this like other people. So,
you're comparing.
I'm no one special. I'm like, bullshit. Like, of course you're special. Your story is special. And the moment you tell your story, there's someone else out there that now feels like they're not alone. Like, oh, that's my story. Everyone's got a powerful life story. The problem is so many people haven't actually had the experience of telling it, sharing it, or actually understanding how ridiculously powerful it is. If you keep the story up here in your head, it sounds different than when it comes
totally.
out.
And also they haven't put any value to their voice, right? Like
No,
they haven't been given value. They've actually taken value away from their voice. People have, and our parents unknowingly, and all of those things. By the way, time out 1 second. We have a crew saying hello to us. So Mike is saying you guys are both amazing. We've changed his life in enormous ways. Kenny is saying your show with Matt is so scrumptiously, deliciously, edibly good.
Oh, Kenny.
Kenny's the best. Gabe says hello, guys, and you're both amazing individuals. So we have some rock star followers tonight.
Appreciate you guys. All people I love.
But keep going. You're like schooling me with all your, I'm with you. I'm so with you on every single thing you're saying, but the way you express it is so just eloquent and powerful and filled with wisdom that like, I don't usually say this to people, I'm usually like, oh yeah. But like, I really feel that way. So I'm just so fascinated
No, I
by
appreciate it.
what
I
it is
will
you're
say
doing.
that that's a gift I've learned to own though, finally. It's like the ability to be able to articulate what feels like complicated situations for people. Because I've seen it so many times. I've done it myself. I've complicated these problems in my life. I had a client today that was like that. I was like, what are we really talking about? Like, what's stressing you out? And they're like, everything, everything. I'm like, everything?
Yeah.
Come on, what really is it? And it boiled down to just one thing.
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, that's it. It's just that
But
one
what our
thing.
mind does, it just tells
Yeah,
these
we
stories.
overcomplicate it, and it has to be complicated. We think. I'm like, no, it could be pretty simple. And so I've learned to do the same thing with myself. But say like depression, for example, like my gift with depression and experiencing it was actually being able to articulate it to people while I was in it in a way that people could understand. So while I was actually experiencing, a challenging time in my own mental health, I was able to clearly articulate it to others. And that's really hard to do when you're in it. When you're in that space,
Yeah.
I don't typically want to talk to anybody. But I
Nope.
was like, no, this is the only way I can serve other people right now and utilize
Wow.
this as a superpower and be able to articulate it in that moment. And it became very, very powerful. Now, my focus now is really on the path forward and serving people and detaching myself more from that story of the past, because I'm not that story anymore. And there's
Right.
a million podcasts you can listen to where I share that. And I'll share it sometimes to help serve others in a specific area. But now it's really about how can I serve going forward,
Right.
and I'll hear you, I'll listen to you, I'll be there for you. But mainly, like a lot of the coaching is really mirroring back, what I'm hearing. And I'll say things
Right.
back to a client and they'll look at me like I'm a raging tool. And I'm like, those are your words, man, not mine.
Right. You
Like,
just said
don't be
it.
mad
Right.
at me. I'm just saying your stuff back. And other power in coaching too is silence. Just being able to give someone space to process a thought, let them be uncomfortable because I'll be fine in that space.
Yeah.
And even with emotions, I have a rule with being emotional and actually crying. If we're in person, I'm never going to hand you a box of tissues if you start crying unless you ask for one. Because immediately when someone comes to you with a tissue, they're basically
It
saying,
brings
stop
them to it.
crying.
It stops
Stop
them. Yeah.
crying. It's okay. Everything's going to be all right. I'm like, no, I'm so happy for you that you're actually expressing your
Showing your
emotions.
feelings.
I'm like,
Yep.
great. Feel. You need this. It's like your crying is your heart's way of purging whatever's toxic inside. Like, let that stuff come out. It's good. Even if you're angry, let that come out. Let's do that. So there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong in helping people understand there's nothing wrong with how you feel.
Just
It's what you
having
choose to do
feelings.
with it. It's what you choose to do with it. I can be raging mad, and that's all right. But I can't be raging mad and go kick my dog. Like, that's wrong. So it's
Right.
what you choose to
Right.
do with it. So I always love to ask people, like, how do you want to honor your anger right now? How do we honor your sadness? How do we honor, like, we have to feel it. You can't just bury that stuff down because eventually you'll project it on something else. So helping people learn how
Absolutely.
to honor their emotions is
You,
truly
you
important.
you said something, Matt, that stuck with me. You said about your work, you could express yourself when you were really depressed. And I'll never forget one of the darkest times in my life. I remember the exact words I used. I felt like, and it was the only time I could cry. It's the only time I ever felt this way. But I know that someone out there could definitely, I don't want them to be able to relate, but I'm sure that they can. But I felt like I was underwater and walking through sand. And the sand was above me and the water was above me. And that's the only way I could describe how I felt, like I was weighed down so much by this
Yeah.
cloak of darkness. And, that's when I knew it was really bad. And my loved ones were like, okay, she's not
Yeah.
okay. It wasn't just like, I was like a little down. Like, that's when you start to say, okay. And so I could express that too. I love words. So I love to be able to sort of express myself, but just like you, I don't want to talk about it when I'm sad and down. I shut off everybody. So
But
being
it's
able to
not
do
just
that is super
words, it's
important.
it's the power of your analogies and metaphors that help people relate. And metaphors are an incredibly powerful way, a powerful skill set in coaching too, because it does help paint a picture. It helps us relate to certain things versus just our normal way of saying things. So
Right.
metaphors, analogies are incredibly powerful in coaching.
Yeah, and how it sort of portrays exactly how you're feeling, or you can, it's just like you said, it's very powerful. So what can I do for you? How can I, like, what do you have going on that you want to tell people about? Because believe it or not, it's 8:25 already.
Wicked.
How fast did that go? That was like
Very
super
fast. I
fast.
love it. Yeah. I'll tell you the things that I'm excited about right now.
Yeah.
Where this business has grown over the past 6 years and having built it again from scratch when there was no money available, and there was no money for business cards or any of that stuff, just building it from a place of just total resourcefulness to where it is now. I'm finally transitioning it to my own personal brand. It's been Life Story Coaching forever. I'm so proud of that brand. But now I'm actually owning my own brand as Matt Gagnon Coaching and transitioning it to that personal brand because I realized people were no longer associating me with Life Story. They were like, what is that? I'm like, well, that's me. So now I'm actually owning my personal brand and understanding there's nothing arrogant about that. And so that's a big leap for me. I'm really grateful for it. And so more of that's coming right now. And I will have programs available for people in the next month, focusing on overcoming limiting beliefs, focusing on helping elite achievers. Now, here's the thing. So many people get confused. Well, I'm not an elite achiever. I'm not that kind of successful person. I'm like, well, it's about a mindset. And so wherever you are in that journey, it's this mindset about being an elite achiever. It doesn't mean you're at the C-suite level yet, but you have that thought process and you're on that path. You want to get there,
So Matt, is there a website that people can go to?
It's not out yet. It's going to be on its way. I can't wait.
I was just going to do this really fun ticker across the bottom with your website, and now
I appreciate it.
So mad.
No, it's all in development right now. My wife has actually been an amazing digital marketer for me and has done so much of the rebranding process. I'm also working with a team at Communo, which is an amazing company too. That's been serving me. I'm very grateful for them. And so between all of that stuff, there's also the new company that I just co-founded with another partner of mine up in Canada, Ryan Gill, and we're doing a whole program around atomic mornings. And it's all about these morning routines that have literally changed my life and have helped serve other people too. And now more than ever, with what's going on in the world, we need to be awake. And it's
you're right. You're right. And it's a scary time to be awake. We need to be awake.
Yeah, we need to be awake. And so the whole thing about mornings isn't about waking up, but it's also understanding what keeps you in bed. Like what keeps you in bed until the very last second when you have to get up.
What time are you talking? What time are you talking?
It's what, for me, I get up at 4:30. But for others, it's your number. So I work with people in 15-minute slots for 30 straight days. Like you pick your 15-minute slot when we're going to talk every day for 30 days. And it's going to be a simple breakdown. After we do an intake, I want to know every day, what are you aware of emotionally and physically when you get out of bed? Like, you're going to tell me right up there, like, dude, I'm so tired. I'm like, that's perfect. I want to know how you feel right now.
Yeah.
Because we're raw. Then I want to know, what was your wind down like last night? How did you get yourself into bed? How did you wind yourself down from the day? And the last thing is, I want to know, what's the one thing you want to be intentional about today? So just instead of going through the day like a tornado and then ending it feeling like, I don't know what I accomplished and I feel like I'm not enough. It's like, what's that one thing you want to accomplish today and feel proud of yourself for doing it? And
I love
every
that.
single day for doing that, it's amazing what can come out of it. I got one guy, we've only done 10 days in, and it's like they've already learned how to step away from their cell phone, and let work take care of itself, let the people they delegate to and be totally present with their family. I've seen people like have powerful conversations. I've seen people have more dinners with their families, more time for themselves, focusing on fitness, all because they reallocated time and put it in the morning, where now their productivity is going up, as the day progresses, versus at night where my productivity started going down. And
I was
honestly,
such a night owl. Yeah,
I wasn't doing the things that I said I would do. I'm like, oh, I'm going to work on that project tonight. And then I'm like, nah, I'm just going to play on Netflix. And then I get tired and then I fall asleep. And then I say, I'm going to get up early and I'm going to do it in the morning.
And
I don't do that either. And now I just feel ashamed. So yeah, that's what this is all about. Yeah. And what's really been fun though is, like, I have two versions of it. I'm doing this 15-minute slot with people, but then I've got this other version I do it. I actually hook people up with a sleep tracker that goes under your mattress. You don't have to wear it. It tells you every stat you want to know about your sleep. And on top of that though, we're going to record your Zoom session every 15 minutes over 30 days. And I got a film crew that's going to put it together in like an 8 to 10 minute documentary
So you
highlight
can,
reel of your whole journey with like
how
music
cool
and
is
graphics.
that?
All the
I want to
lessons
see
that you've
that so
had
bad.
are going to be broken down into it. You got your own documentary that you can take. Here are the lessons I learned through it.
This is where
And
I've come from. This is where I've gone.
it's
Yeah.
so wild. Like, yeah, you see the good, the bad, the ugly. You see all your morning faces that you've had, and you hear your raw thoughts, and all of a sudden you hear all the breakthroughs that you start having, and we recap them by the end in the credits, and it's yours. You do
That's
whatever you want with it.
amazing. That idea is
So it's been
amazing.
super wild. So yeah, those are the two I have. I've been running beta now since really July, and it started with just Ryan and I first. It started with me like almost 2 years ago now, it seems like. And then Ryan and I did this for a while, and now it's like, great, let's help other people. So I've been taking people on slowly, over time. But yeah, I have people pick their
That is
15-minute
so
slots
super
just for them,
cool.
and let's do this. But also ask yourself, what would 30 straight days of fellowship look like for you in the morning? Like 30 straight days of waking up and actually being able to communicate to another human being that's not going to judge you, but is going to help guide you to a more intentional lifestyle. And so
It's
that's
pretty
what this has
incredible
really
stuff.
been about. So
That's
it's not just
awesome.
about having routines. It's
Matt,
about
you'd be so
understanding
proud of me. I
yourself.
just started running in the morning, and then like I had like getting up like before 6 and going,
Mhm.
and it's really incredible. I come back and I'm bright-eyed. I mean, I'm pretty bright-eyed
Yeah.
and bushy in the morning anyway, but I come back and I'm ready for life versus like that late at night work where I'm just all over the map
Yeah.
and I'm doing stuff, but it's not the same kind of productivity.
I've seen more sunrises in the past year than I've ever seen. I've woken my son up and taken him out too to see one. I've experienced so much more of life instead of sleeping through it. And I feel great about that. And you feel like a badass after a while. Like if you get up on Sunday at 4:30 a.m. or Saturday, and it's just like, what am I supposed to do with all this time? But the thing is too, is like, how many times are you completely complaining in life that you don't have time for anything? I'm like, well, it's because
Right.
you're not willing to create it.
Right.
So you can't complain.
What time do you
about
have to
not
go to
having
bed,
time.
Matt? What time do you have to go to bed? What
Well, that's
time
a
do you
personal
have to?
question.
Like,
Look,
if
I
you're
still,
gonna
that's my
go
area
to
where I struggle. Like I still struggle with my wind down routine, and I work on that as much as I can. So that's how I relate to my clients. So look, there's sometimes I can get into bed, be in there by 9, but there are other times like, man, I'm up to 11 or 12, and I'm like, I got to change that behavior
because the
because
next
it's
day you're
not healthy.
screwed.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
next day, yeah. Look, there are times in life like people glorify the hustle and grind life. I'm like, it's not sustainable. Like you
And
can't
it's
live that
really
way.
unhealthy. Trust me.
It's super unhealthy. But for those of us who are entrepreneurs, those of us who have that mindset, there will be exception times when it's like, I have to sprint. This is going to be a night with
Yeah.
very little sleep.
I'm with
Not
you.
healthy. You can't do that long term. It's not sustainable. But every now and then, you got to give yourself some grace and self-love and just knowing, all right, I'm making a conscious choice. But I
love
have
it.
learned to make choices too, where I'm like, all right, I need to tell people I'm going to bed. Like I can't stay out much later.
Right. But it's up
And you
to
have to have
you.
that
You
power.
made
It's the
that
same
choice.
power you have at a restaurant when you're on
Mhm.
a certain nutritional lifestyle and telling the waiter like, hey, I want my meal cooked a certain way, or I'm choosing not to eat those chips. Like it's the same thing.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm going to make choices, and I'm okay if other people don't like it. People are like, oh, you can't leave the party early. I'm like, no, I need to because I love myself
Right.
and I owe it to myself to do this and honor my routine because
Right.
the world gets the best of me and not what's left of me when I do this.
That's such a great line too. The world gets the best of me, not what's left of me. I love that. That's going on your second shirt that I'm getting you. The Living with
It
Annietude
exists
shirt.
somewhere online, but I've never found who actually has said it, but I love it. It hits me really hard every time.
It really does. It's very resonated greatly with me. So tell me one thing. I'm going to ask you one crazy question. What is your favorite word?
Oh, it's courageous.
Okay.
Courage, courageous. Yeah, any form of
I love
that.
it.
I love it.
I love it. I ask some people that it just hit me because you just had so much wisdom. I wanted to see what your favorite word was. So I wanted to thank you for taking the time coming on. It went super fast. And also people are saying this isn't long enough. Matt's magnificent singer and guitarist. I didn't know that. Kenny told me that. Gabe said that 30 minutes is too short, but that's how long my show is. So Matt, you have been amazing. I need to go back and watch this a couple times so I can take some of these pearls of wisdom with me. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. My gratitude, and my gratitude is to you for tonight. So
Is there anything I can do to serve you?
You know, just what you're doing. You came on and just live with your great smile. You're living with Annietude, and I love what you have to say. And just keep on helping others. And we're aligned, and we're on the same mission, I think. So
I appreciate you.
I hope to see you soon.
Absolutely, anytime.
Okay. Good night.
Cheers.
Good night, everyone. Peace.